Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, trying to get my notes together for the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. This is LinkedIn and Facebook shows. We're also on Instagram and some other social medias. We've got a radio show that we put on several different states. And by the way, it's a very difficult market getting into the radio market, trying to bust in, open a new place that you want to do your show. Two kinds of ways to do it, right? You either got to pay for your hourly time or you got to get into the advertising world. If you're in the advertising world, they have a different sliding scales as to how much they can do for you and how much it's going to cost. If you're in the hourly scale, they look at their station and say, okay, we got this many viewers. That means our hours are worth this amount of money. It's difficult for a show like this that we put on every day on LinkedIn. It's nice, it's free, but it doesn't reach a lot of people. Radio does, and therefore it's nice to be on both. Anyway, 5 stations, 3 different states, and that's where we are there. We're also on a number of different podcasts, and there too lies a whole different area of trying to get in with people and trying to podcasting. If we're on like 8 or 9 different podcasts, the big 8 they call them, plus we're on a couple of new ones, but finding it is difficult because some podcasts you can just go in and go the Mortgage Minute or the Mortgage Voice. There you go, you got right to it. But others you have to go through the person who's actually hosting you on the podcast. We don't go directly because it's too expensive. So we go through the radio stations that use us. So sometimes you have to punch in KMET or KCAA / The Mortgage Voice, and that's how you find us. Anyway, it's a very, everything costs, right? So you have to make sure that you get in for the cheapest amount, but get the biggest bang for your buck, whatever that is. And for us, it's about trying to get to most people. If our show is heard by people who need a mortgage, they're going to listen. And that, of course, in and of itself is once you get the mortgage, you're done, right? You're not going to buy 7 or 8 properties. I mean, a few people are, but they're not going to listen to our show because we're geared more towards people that are doing refinances and people who are doing first-time mortgages or second-time mortgages. All that being what it is, here's some news for you. Rates, oh my gosh, yes, they're up, and everybody knows they're up. The reason why they're up and if they're going to continue to go up, I think there's a great deal of market manipulation here. I'm not going to get into it that much here today on this show, but in my opinion, the rates, the credit scores, the DTI, the debt to income ratios, all of that is a manipulation about assessing risk. Nobody wants risk, right? So you try to price it out of the market or you try to cost it out of the market, right? So everything in that space is subject to me going, I don't know, man. There's got to be a better way to do it. Do I know what the better way is? No, but there are some simpler things you can do. Let's just skip that for now. Rates, okay, 3.27 for the 30-year fixed, 2.75 for the 15-year, 2.88 for FHA, 3.49 for jumbo, and 2.42 for the 5/1 arm. The 10-year is at 1.5, 1.5%, ladies and gentlemen, 1.5. And it was a year ago that we were at a 0.5 point. Well, almost a year ago, right? COVID started March 15th, 2020. That's when the markets crashed, and what we saw was the bottoming out of 10-year treasuries, where, okay, we explained a little bit about treasuries, right? The treasuries are how we normally price the mortgage rates that we provide or give out to our borrowers with our particular margin on it. So these prices that I'm reporting to you today are kind of like an average of what's going on in the country. But the mortgage-backed securities, which traditionally has been the way the market has priced rates. Okay, so you buy a you buy a bond. Bond you buy in increments of 100. So everything's priced off 100 bonds. If you buy the bonds today at a rate of 2.5%, so in this scenario, 2.5%, we're really looking at 5/1 arms, but they don't really sell in the 10-year Treasury bond market. So let's say we're looking at 2.5 on the 10-year. That's going to cost you today $102 per bond. Now, why would you spend $102 on a $100 bond? Because that bond for 10 years will pay you a yield of today 1.5%. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, right? But it's way more than it was a year ago. So, although bonds today are cheap and they're paying more That means the bond market itself is not doing well, but the investor can do well or better than they did a year ago. All that is how they price. And pricing today is going up, has been for a week. We run out of time. Sorry. I know there's so much to talk about. Come to the radio show. We're on Saturday and Sunday. Jeff Barton, the Mortgage Voice. Go to YouTube. You can see it too. We'll see you tomorrow. This is Jeff Barton for the Mortgage Minute. Bye.